Consider this before viewing weather on Mars. What do you know about how dust storms develop? As you watch the program, note the properties of these storms. Listen to the questions researchers ask about dust storms on Earth and Mars. Consider the hazards of human exploration on Mars. Assignment Discovery now presents Weather on Mars.
Saturn is minus 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Storm season is well underway as cover in
storm warning for Jupiter with further 50-mile-long frontal.
As winds in the Great Red Spot increase
to 400 miles per hour. Visibility on Io is dropping to zero. The radiation warning
forecast is at a maximum with other deaths.
5 of the summer dust storm on Mars. All regions of the planet affected. More bad weather on the way as this
Alien weather, wild and extreme, rages through the solar system. But no one has ever experienced its fury until now. Storms from the planets are coming down to Earth. And all this alien weather is about to give up its secrets in a laboratory called Planet Earth. We have been scouring the heavens for centuries, hoping for signs of life. And one planet above all has been the object of our obsession, the red planet Mars. The first explorers to set foot there will carry on the search, but they will face a deadly threat. Because what we have already found on Mars is not alien life, but alien weather. Mars is consumed by dust storms, blasting its surface at 200 miles an hour. And now scientists are trying to calculate the risks for the astronauts who will go there. Wes Ward is the chief of Mars exploration for the United States Geological Survey. Ever since Mariner 9 became the first spacecraft to go into orbit around Mars, he has been driven by the dream of a manned mission to the Red Planet. But his weather forecast is danger.
When our first astronauts land on Mars, they're probably going to have a pretty tough time of it. The first time we really got to understand what's going on Mars was with the Mariner 9 mission in 1971. We'd flown by Mars 3 times in the earlier 60s, but didn't see very much. We get to Mars with Mariner 9, beautiful spacecraft, working perfectly, all their instruments are ready to go, and we turn our eyes to the planet to see what we can find out. And we look down, and we see absolutely nothing. The entire planet is covered by one global dust storm. Sooner or later, and I hope a lot sooner, I'd like to see it in my lifetime, it's possible to get to Mars 20, 30, 40 years. And of all the things we have thought about when we're going to see on Mars, the number one problem we're going to have is weather.
When Mariner 9 reached Mars, it was a whole month before the massive dust storm finally died down to reveal a lifeless, desert world. Summer temperatures rarely reach freezing point, and they plummet by 10 degrees when dust storms block out the sun. With no water and no life, wind and dust are the major forces shaping the Martian surface. Dust storms rule the Red Planet, and now scientists want to know how these alien storms are born. At NASA's Ames Research Center in California, they go to incredible lengths to simulate Martian conditions. A wind tunnel is coated with ultrafine red dust. On Mars, Millions of years of high winds have pounded the rock to a dust as fine as talcum powder. Scientists must wear breathing masks, but when the experiment begins, they have to leave altogether, because the Martian air is 100 times thinner than the Earth's. The entire laboratory must be pumped out to create a virtually airless no man's land. But there isn't enough air pressure left in the wind tunnel to force a single speck of dust off the ground, even with a 60-mile-an-hour wind. Scientists need another Martian laboratory, the deserts of the Earth. And Steve Metzger, a geologist from the University of Nevada, makes an amazing discovery. It takes more than just wind to blow up a storm.
This is kind of a general wind blow. It's picking up a lot of sand, and it's going to definitely cover a wide area, but it's only taking it up a few dozen yards. It's obviously able to carry a lot of stuff. There goes my water bottle. Oh wow, I can just really feel sand bouncing off every surface of my body. Sand is bouncing along and it's picking up dust because it's eroding and splashing it off the surface.
Steve thinks sand is a key ingredient, and the Mars wind tunnel shows why. The bigger sand grains bouncing along the surface help to raise dust into the thin but fast-flowing air above it. The effect of sand is crucial in explaining how dust storms can happen in the thin Martian atmosphere. And the final evidence comes from Mars itself. The Mars Global Surveyor spacecraft captured these pictures of shifting sand dunes. And another powerful force seems to be at work. The same spacecraft has been detecting strange fuzzy spots on the planet's surface, leaving long dark trails. But there were no pictures from ground level until the Pathfinder mission touched down and Steve Metzger spotted something that NASA's own scientists had missed.
After the mission landed and I downloaded some pictures off the internet, used the right filtering and a little computer processing, you could see the strong column that's going straight up. It might go 1 or 2 miles up into the air, right against the horizon, showing up against a background of quite a bit of dust haze.
The tall, twisting columns are called dust devils, and our deserts are so similar to Mars that we have them too. Whenever dust storms happen on Mars, dust devils always seem to be present. They're also under suspicion on our own world. Because as dust storms rule Mars, they also roam the Earth. In the 1930s, the North American prairies were overrun by a plague of storms that lasted for months, and then years. The terrible hardships of the Dust Bowl days caused the biggest mass exodus of people that America has ever witnessed. In the long drought of 1983, Melbourne, Australia, was attacked by 2 million tons of dust in a creeping cloud 1,000 feet high. A desert storm in the heart of the city, trapping 3 million people on the choking streets. And in Southern California, a fast-moving wall of dust turned a busy highway into the worst traffic accident in American history. 150 people were injured in the dust storm that struck Interstate 5. 17 were killed. just as they help to start global dust storms on Mars, sand can get dust off the ground.
Dust is actually very hard to move. In order for the wind to erode the surface, the wind has got to get down to the surface. And every surface has its characteristics as to how it drags the wind as it moves across that surface. We can see it by seeing how little wind is moving right across this surface. But the moment you get further up into the air column, the wind speed really starts to pick up and it gets to be pretty strong. This mast is measuring the wind speed at a whole bunch of different levels, and we can project down mathematically onto the surface to see how much energy is actually making it here. One of the ideas on how that is linked from the dust devil to the dust storm is that the dust devils are lifting up enough dust in a certain area to heat up the atmosphere, turn that atmosphere unstable, and really get some strong winds churning in it. Then those sweep down across the surface, raising huge quantities of dust and leading to the global dust storms.
Well, they're perfect. Look at that. There's a real clear column right yonder. There's sand ejecta skirts on these guys because they're flipping out the heavier sand. It's perfect. It'll sandblast the car, too. That'll be nice.
Steve also faces being sandblasted as he joins the chase for hard evidence.
All right. This dust devil is really wide. It's got several parts to it. This is going to be nasty. Oh. 45 milligrams per cubic meter is kind of dusty. Oh, wow. It's hard to breathe inside those, too. Another one, excellent column forming. All right, look at this. This is great. This is a perfect day. Dust devils are able to just take whatever they can erode off the surface, and it's an escalator ride up into the sky, way above the area that normal wind whips up dust. And this is a calm day. There's nothing else going on except a gentle breeze, maybe about 5 or 10 miles an hour. Two big dust devils working away. That's where they're happening. That's where we'll go.
Steve wants to measure how much dust is being lifted, but the sandblasting effect inside a dust devil gives him two problems: getting in and getting out. Lance comes to the rescue, Steve's name for a specially adapted truck. Its 20-foot pole carries the instruments and takes the sting out of dust devil work. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, exactly the same time that dust devils spring up on Mars.
Dust devils can happen anytime you have a dry surface being warmed by a sun on a clear sky.
Off we go.
The surface heats up, the air right above the surface gets warm. This air is unstable, it starts to rise, especially if a little wind comes through and gives it a bit of a twist.
Are you holding on tight?
It's off and running. We've got a visible dust column, and the dust devil is started.
It's trying to form up. It's about 50, 60 feet in diameter. Oh yeah, here it goes. It's slowly turning. Oh, right, this is going to be good. All right, baby, here we go. Woohoo! All right. Dust devil number 1.